Okay, today I am making thick and fudgy double chocolate cookies. In my bowl is 2 cups of butter and 3 cups of sugar. This is a double recipe. As always, the regular recipe will be posted with the video. I'm going to cream this all together, get it nice and light and fluffy, and then we'll add eggs. This is my first time making this recipe, so we'll see how good it comes out. You want to stop every once in a while, scrape down the sides, clean off the beaters, and we're going to let it beat again for a couple more, well, for about 2 minutes total. Once I get everything scraped down. So what you want, it should be a very pale yellow, and we'll get it in pretty fluffy, and I'll get this all scraped down, and then we'll beat in the eggs. We're going to add 4 eggs. Remember, this is the double recipe, so if I can get it all down without making a complete mess, which would be unusual. And we're going to beat in the eggs one at a time. And again, you want to stop and scrape after you've got all the eggs mixed in, and then we'll mix it all together for about 30 seconds to make sure everything's combined, and we'll start adding the other ingredients. Okay, now we're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Close enough. And homemade vanilla, I strongly recommend. Its flavor is much superior to the store-bought. We'll mix that in and then we'll continue on. You want to start it slow. we're going to add a cup of cocoa. And again, you want to go very slow because it will spray all over. We have a cocoa bath. We're going to add a total of 5 1/3 cups of flour. We're going to put in about 2 cups. We'll mix that in and go from there. And this is cup number 5 going in. I think we're going to need a little more than 1/3. We're going to add a half. You want to be able to roll this in balls, so it depends on your flour, depends on the weather, how much you're going to need to add. So we'll go a little at a time till we get the consistency that we want. So I've added a total of about 6 cups of flour. I'm going to add a 12-ounce bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips and between a cup and a half of some chopped walnuts. You can leave the nuts out. You can use any other kind of nuts you want. Pecans would also be good, as would almonds. And if I was going to add almonds to the dough, I'd probably add almond extract as well as the vanilla. But we'll add everything in and get it mixed up. We like nuts, so I'm not worried about adding too many. It's not up. Hang on. Okay, we'll scrape that off and finish mixing. They're all together by hand. And we'll pick you up there. So this is what the dough looks like. It is still just slightly sticky. I mean, you can roll a ball, but I'm going to use a 1 tablespoon scoop and use that. Also, if the dough is still a little sticky, you could always throw it in the fridge for a little bit. So I'm going to put them on parchment. I tend to do that with all my cookies. They don't have to be perfectly formed. They're homemade. And we'll bake them for around 8 minutes. And then we'll check on them and we'll pick you up there. So these are ready to go in the oven. It says to bake them for 8 minutes. I'll probably check them at 7 and we'll go from there because everybody's oven's a little different. So in we go. We'll see you when they're done. So this is at 9 minutes. They didn't flatten out or spread out at all. You want them still, they're a little soft, they'll firm up on the cookie sheet. So I'm going to set them aside to cool. The next cookie sheet that I've got, we're going to flatten them down a little bit and see how that works. And as I said, they're small cookies. You can always make them bigger and bake them longer. So we'll see how that one goes. And we'll set these aside to cool for a couple of minutes, and then I'll take them off the cookie sheet and put them on the rack. This is the second tray. They're a little flatter. You want them still to be slightly soft. You don't want to over bake them. And we'll let them cool on the sheet for a couple of minutes and then move them to the cooling tray. So this is what they look like after they come out of the oven, after they've been flattened. These I baked for about 10 minutes. You want them still slightly soft. You don't want to overcook them. Let them cool for about 1 minute to 2 minutes on the cookie sheet. Then move them to the cooling rack. There's one that's cooled off. And they are very chocolatey. They will satisfy your chocolate fix. I have a little over 7 dozen of about 2-inch cookies. You could make them larger, bake them a little longer. They do not spread hardly at all. So even after I flatten them, they barely spread. So you can space them fairly close together. Thanks for watching.